trying to get this new tool. Good. Yeah, I'm trying to get this new tool to work. It's a third-party tool that meshes all my chats together, but you have to set it up like individually for each stream, or at least I haven't figured it out enough. Basically, I'm thinking it'll be good to have a little, you know, even to have like a transparent chat box show up on the screen itself, like maybe on like the bottom left, where you know, a few of the chat messages can pop up. But I got the conglomeration to show up, but I haven't been able to get the actual multi-chat thing source to show up yet. So I'll have to play with it later. But I can see YouTube, Rumble, New Game Plus. Morning, man. Good to see you. I'm gonna chat on Kick and Twitch and see if those show up. Totally understandable, man. We'll get to it then. Just want to test one more thing here. Okay, so Twitch and Kick aren't really showing up very well, but I got YouTube and Rumble showing, so that's good at least. Oh, maybe that's because Twitch is... No, Twitch is going. Alright, we'll get started then. Let's see. Excuse me. Don't need those anymore. All right. All right. Let's do this. Alright, where do we leave off here? Second day. Oh, that's right. I just completed the the spider house. But unfortunately, you have to complete the spider house on the first day. So, okay, where am I at right now? Is there anything I can do right now? I can't help her yet. Can't do that. I got the mask from her. I can't help him. Can't do that. Can't do that. Okay, let's go back to Clocktown. Oh wow, look at these masks. And they really worked well on this HD texture. Alright. Clocktown. Thank you. I turned off my mic to cough, and I forgot to turn it back on again. Not that I'm saying much. I'm just trying to get started this morning. Searching through my list of topic discussions. I would have something sooner, but I thought you were being quiet. Oh, I am being quiet. Right now, at least. I haven't really dove into it. Ugh. Of course, I don't have bombs. Gotta get some bombs. Any plants around here? There we go. That was nice. Lucky. Oh, there's some plants. Okay, round 2 of the spider house. Oh, I need to play the inverted Song of Time. There we go. Okay. Alright, time to collect all these spiders again. Controller's not calibrated properly. Okay. Probably need all of this. Sorry, 1 second, everyone. So apparently there's this... I just learned this morning, but apparently there's this landmark case for YouTube coming up where it was... YouTube was sued. Or Google was sued, and they were sued because their algorithms are considered predatory, or that was the claim of the the plaintiff? Is it the plaintiff? I don't know my lore, my law speak, but apparently, basically what it sought to, the people bring forth the lawsuit sought to blame YouTube for the fact that their daughter, like, had her life ruined because she was addicted to social media, and that the social media algorithms are predatory in nature. And people are suspecting that this is going to basically lead to YouTube and all these other social media sites not being able to actually have an algorithm, which means that you will only get exposure based on your discoverability. So people will basically only be able to find you if they search for you, which, you know, that can be really bad for a lot of people if you don't have the money to advertise. The thing was, the ruling was that Google had to pay out like $3 million to this family in damages or something like that, which is nothing. But it is part of another lawsuit that will go through and be adjudicated, and it's like $375 million in damages for that one. So some content creators are kind of freaking out about that, because then you can only really rely on your subscribers. Like, imagine going onto YouTube and the only videos that can really be suggested to you are the ones that of like your followers. Anyway, it's an interesting thing happened. I just learned about it. I don't know too much about it. But, you know, thinking as someone for me who is pretty much relying on the YouTube algorithm and algorithms of other social media sites, it is something. I mean, it's not concerning in the sense that, like, my livelihood relies on this, because it definitely doesn't. But it will make it so that future content creators will have to have a substantial income to promote themselves. Should the algorithms end up, like, going away. I mean, I guess it's just how products work in the before the internet. You know, it's one thing to make a good product. It's another thing to get people to see that product and know that it's good. If you happen to know a bigger creator, I guess you could beg them to platform you. But as someone who consistently rails against predatory game design practices like gacha mechanics and things like that, it's totally understandable how, you know, people get addicted to social media. You know, so I understand, but at the same time, you know, parents suing a social media company because their child got addicted to social media, I understand it, but at the same time, I'm like, maybe be maybe be a better parent. I don't know. I don't know if that's too judgmental of me a thing to say. I don't know. My kids aren't old enough to use social media, so I guess I don't know how that really works, but there are plenty of tools out there. As a former teacher of middle schoolers, there are plenty of tools out there to monitor and limit both gaming experiences your kids can have and also social media experiences. Really, I feel like it's definitely at least partial responsibility on the parent. if your kid gets like too into a game, a particular game or social media. What are we doing here? All right. Oh, look at that. Tim says it can still be difficult to control what your kids are exposed to, though, especially once they want a little more independence with their friends. Yeah, 100%. My kids are too young for social media, but they've come back from school and basically, you know, some of their friends have phones, and it's like, you're in kindergarten, man. Why does one of your friends have a smartphone? You know, and it's they're not allowed to use it in school because they're only in kindergarten, but I can imagine how quickly that becomes something of a concerning thing. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Some parents just don't care. Like, even in middle school, when I was teaching, we gave a parental like course on digital literacy, or just like how to handle the social media landscape, and parents just don't care sometimes. Yeah, so I mean, I'm not saying it's 100% the parents' fault, but at least, you know, to the extent that you can at home, there is, I think, some responsibility there, made more difficult by what they're exposed to at school. Yeah, that could be it. That could be an age gate could be another thing. Age gates and which also leads to verification, like face verification. Everyone's upset that Discord is now checking out, wants you to like put in a picture so they can verify who you are. Like, I'm all for anonymity on the internet, because I think people should behave responsibly individually. But at the same time, you know, it kind of goes with the whole kids in school thing. When you're in a community where you can trust other people to behave the same way that you do, with the same like standards that you do, you don't really have to worry about, you know, what are your kids gonna watch when they go to when they go to their friend's house for a movie. But when you're in a very kind of when you're in a situation where you know that other people have different values than you do, you might want certain things in place from online sites and internet providers and things like that to help protect what kids are able to view. Like, I'm not there yet, obviously, but man, I can't imagine what it's like when like a friend comes home and I want to go to sleepover and you don't even know the kid, who they want to go hang out with. I was the kid at the sleepover growing up who his mom would basically be on the phone with the mom at the sleepover, and she was vetting the movies that we were watching or could rent from the video store. I don't know. People seem to know that we're brothers, Tim. I don't know if Mom ever did that to you, but I remember specifically a time when she was on the phone at the video store with the mother at the sleepover, and the mother was reading off the backs of movies just to make sure that everything was okay. Other countries? That's a good question. I don't think they're doing anything. There is a very interesting thing happening with X right now, where X is starting to... Oh my goodness. How did I kill these last time? You don't remember that? She did that with me. Maybe she trusted your friends more than she trusted mine. But X is doing this new thing. They haven't rolled it out completely yet, but it's a region filter. So basically, what happened was when X first rolled out it's like payment plans for people. You could you know, incentivized replies, where you would get money based on how many replies you got in a certain month, and then just interaction in general. Sorry, I have to do this. Blue, yellow, red, green, red, blue. Yay! Yeah, you would get money based on replies and interaction, but apparently there were large groups of people in India that kind of figured this out, and what they would do was one of them would just reply "Good morning," and and then the millions of other accounts would just reply "Good morning," and what that did was it sucked money away from all the other content creators, because the ad revenue pool is something that's I think it's like shared between creators. So the more going out means the less you make. Anyway, so now there's talk of a region lock, which is basically like a region filter, where you can filter out posts by region and who's able to reply by region, which will have unforeseen effects on the ability for people to see how much money people make. But there were other issues as well, like with more like political and cultural topics. You had people pretending to be you had people pretending to be part of one of the major parties of the United States, and and post like really inflammatory stuff for either party, and turns out they're posting from some country in Africa or Malaysia or India, and they're just doing it to get money, because that's how you build a brand. And it's true, like I get likes and comments from people and personal messages, like direct messages from people, and it's like Patriot 250, and you check you check where they're posting from, and it's definitely not in the United States. Alright, I got this last time. I don't know why I can't do it this time. Maybe I can, kinda... Nope. Oops, oops. Oh, man, I made him mad. Sorry, guy. You were just chilling out there. Ugh, how did I do this last time? I gotta move fast. I'm almost at... It's 2 o'clock. Gotta go right through the middle of that scorpion mandible. There we go. Okay. Yeah, Tim says, yeah, the revenue pool is the same for the music with streaming platforms, which is why dilution from AI music is a problem. Yeah, that is another thing. AI is always a problem. People are like literally clicking a button and generating like 100 videos, and then they throw up to YouTube, and they're getting millions of views too, which is insane. I mean, oversaturation of content is already a problem in the gaming space too, because I mean, something like over 100,000 video games a year get posted up to Steam, and because Steam doesn't really have an algorithm to present things in its own right, you do have to market your game in the old-fashioned way, which relies on social media sites, which relies on an algorithm. So, you know, indie developers will be hurt by this as well, even though what they're trying to do is not make money off of social media, but make money off of their game. It's going to be a lot harder for them to market if the algorithm goes away. Okay, I gotta hurry up. I didn't realize how close this was gonna be. Spider. Did I already do this? Let's kill that guy. Oh, dang. Shoot, there's one more in here. 2 more in here, I think. I hope so. There's 2 in here. Oh, that's right. There's a bookcase. Yes. Let's get out of here. And get my wallet. So I can hold more monies. You just get like stuck in here if you if you don't have the Goron mask. I guess you can't get here without the Goron mask. I thought I heard some loud noises. Check it out. This place is underground shelter. Did you find this place? I beg you, let me have this place. Start for free, of course. I hope this will do. Yeah. Okay, now alright, now we're gonna go back here. Excuse me. Money from you. Go into the bomb shop. I guess I should get a bomb chew too. How much do I need for this thing? You miss bomb chews. They should be in newer Zelda games. Probably, I would imagine. It's going to be really interesting to see what the next Zelda game will bring. I think people criticize Nintendo as diving into the open world craze with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And as a sign, like, this is now going to be the standard for Zelda games. But I also wouldn't put it past Nintendo to not do that and just completely switch things up again. I mean, aside from the divide between 2D and 3D Zelda games, Zelda games have maintained a relative consistency when it comes to their overall structure. Like, for sure, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom shook things up, but I feel like it did at least have enough. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it had it definitely had the story and the setting to make it a Zelda game. And it also had um, some aspects of a Zelda game, gameplay-wise, like sword and shield and whatnot, and big open and like opener world. But the linearity of it, you know, turned a lot of people away for sure. That's why I don't fault people for not liking Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. It's kind of like what happened with Resident Evil, where you had Resident Evil 4 come out, and some people really didn't like it because it was just such a big departure from the original gameplay style. But it was an awesome game, so it quickly became a classic. I think the same thing can be said to have happened with Breath of the Wild. Like, you know, if you say that Breath of the Wild is a bad game, like, I don't mean it's perfect. It definitely has its flaws for sure, but to say that it's a bad game, I think is wrong. But to say that it's not a Zelda game, you know, I could hear that argument. Hey, Zeltroy. Good to see you, man. In a recent interview, Metroid Prime 4's producer mentioned how the opinions on open-world games have changed, and that's why the game had a big open desert since it started development in 2017. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. So if the Metroid devs are aware of it and factoring that in, I wouldn't be surprised if the Zelda devs are too. Like, they're aware that there's been a change in the perception of open world games, or because, like, I understand, like, with movies too, it's like sentiments or like trends in movies tend to lag behind because they take so long to make. I could see the same thing happening with video games. Like Metroid Prime, from what I understand, the sentiment around open world games is that they're good, and people have fun playing them, but at the same time they also see it as kind of like a passing phase right now. Like, oh, it's just another walking simulator is what I see online sometimes. Yeah, the internet in open world games is on the decline. We're getting, yeah, okay, that's what I was getting at. Yeah, open world fatigue. So you're saying that Metroid Prime 4 was, because it had such a long development cycle, it had such a long development cycle that the love for open world games died while it was in development. That, and they didn't do a good job with the open world aspect. Go. Tim says, too much walking around in the real world. But I think that's the thing. You have to make... If you're going to have an open world game where you're going to walk around, you can do one of two things. You can make walking around fun somehow, or or you make fast travel to placate, what happens when the world becomes boring and you don't like walking around it anymore. Zeltroid says, exactly. They literally talk about how people were asking for open world Metroid when they started making Prime 4. Now that it's out, people are angry that they didn't even try it. Oh man, that must be frustrating. And honestly, I don't blame them. I don't blame them for having an open world Metroid. It's just they could have done it much better. It wasn't just open world equals bad. It was they didn't make a good game. Like they intentionally made the open world aspect of it boring for some reason. Like Breath of the Wild, for example, I think Breath of the Wild did the open world right. I know that people say it's it's like an empty space, and it is, and I think that was by design. Like Nintendo wanted it to be empty so that when you did find something or find the point of interest, it was like more meaningful. And I think the way that the game spread out its waypoints, like, from the Great Plateau, you find shrines, and then you can warp to those shrines. And then you find the towers, and then you can warp to those towers, and that reveals the map, and like it all spiraled out from there. And so the farther you got away from the Great Plateau meant you could then revisit. You had to walk to those places, but then you could revisit them and come back. It wasn't like you could automatically, just do it right away. I think that's the right way to do like the progression for fast travel and for what happens when walking becomes boring. Yeah, to be fair, it was done poorly, but again, I'm just pointing out that the actual team of Nintendo devs is acknowledging that open world fatigue is getting stronger. Okay. Makes sense. Keep in mind, Tears of the Kingdom sold really well, but not nearly as well as Breath of the Wild did, which might be evidence of the fatigue. I really find that interesting. Like, Tears of the Kingdom is a great game, and if you like the building aspect of it, you can make some really cool stuff. For almost unending gameplay, Oh, I missed that. Dang. It's just interesting that the second one sold less. Further evidence to support my theory that Tears of the Kingdom would be a better game if Breath of the Wild didn't exist. Alright, what am I doing here? I need to... I need to... Okay, when does this woman get attacked? Did she already get attacked? I don't think she did. Oh yeah, because that guy's there. I wonder if I can... I wonder if I can do both. I can... I can trigger this, save her, get the bomb mask, and then... and then jump to the ranch. Still, though, got a lot of waiting. Dang it. I don't know, Zeltroid, do you think the next Zelda game will be open world? Or do you think it'll be more along the lines of traditional Zelda? Excluding the fact that they could make a 2D Zelda, like Echoes of Wisdom. Yeah, 100%. Even the story is hard to get behind because Tears of the Kingdom, because it basically pretended that Breath of the Wild didn't exist, which annoyed many of us. No one was expecting an origin story in the Breath of the Wild sequel, yeah. Yeah, it's hard to top the complexity of Tears of the Kingdom. I don't think there'll be another building mechanic, for sure, in the next game. Another Ultra Hand ability. Can I go in here? Okay, not even... Oh wait, he's talking to him. Ah. Oh, that's right. We gotta get a band together. Which I could do now, I think. But I need the milk card first, which means I have to do this whole thing. Ugh. Zeltroid says, yeah, open world in a new version of Hyrule. I think they gotta feel things out one more time before they make such a drastic change in the approach. I think if they went back to the simplicity of Breath of the Wild, because it was a pretty simple game, but they restructured the dungeons. If they restructured the dungeons and the what do you call it? And they brought back like the dungeon treasures again, I think people would really like that. Like if they just did Breath of the Wild, but took away all the Divine Beast stuff, made unique dungeons that didn't have walls that you could climb. And brought back treasures that, you know, barred entry to different parts of the world. I think that would be... people would really like that. Like, if they could successfully mesh Ocarina of Time with Breath of the Wild, I think it would be a hit. But they'd have to scale back a lot. They'd have to resist scope creep to try to... I think that was the problem with Metroid Prime 4 was scope creep. They were trying to expand the scope to different genres. Go side-scroller 2D. Like Link's Adventure. The Adventures of Link. Dungeons were supposed to be better in Tears of the Kingdom. Zeltroid says, dungeons were supposed to be better in Tears of the Kingdom, but the problem is that it's nearly impossible to make a traditional puzzle dungeon when Link can do almost anything, yeah. Yeah, I remember spending a few minutes just to piss everyone off. I remember spending a few minutes trying to trying to solve that problem in the fire temple in Tears of the Kingdom, and then I just like, this is dumb, and then I just climbed everywhere. I climbed everywhere and just like powered through the parts where where you can get burned. But they could have structured the dungeons in a way to be less open. You know, if they had made the dungeons more claustrophobic, that would have limited Link in his ability to climb anywhere or shoot up in the air. But that would then require them to not utilize like Ultra Hand stuff or the ability to climb, which might have been detrimental to the overall design of the game. So I'm wondering if the fact that if they can take away Link climbing, that might be what they need to do. But then that would hinder the open world aspect of the game, I think. Because I really liked the climbing mechanic in Breath of the Wild. I thought it was awesome. It really, like, opened up the world. Yeah! The Blast Mask. Alright, now I gotta jet over to the ranch. Imagine how easy the Ocarina of Time water temple would be if Link had all the... Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter in Tears of the Kingdom because of the things like Ascend. It completely destroys linearity in an enclosed dungeon. Yeah, that's true. It'd be much harder to design a traditional Zelda dungeon. Honestly, like they need to be more creative with limiting Link. I think like they have surfaces where you're not allowed to climb. Why not? Why not put more of those in so that you're forced to do the puzzles? Or put some limiter in place so that you can't use Ascend. Or limit Ascend in a way that makes it more costly to use or something like that. I don't know. I think they could do it. They just need to think a bit harder. Yeah, they already did spots. I remember one of the memes I saw going around when Breath of the Wild came up. It was like Legend of Zelda, the breath of rain at inconvenient times or something. Yeah, it feels like Nintendo's forgetting that sometimes less is more. Yeah. I mean, they've done that with some of their other IPs. When Mario Party came, the first Mario Party for the... people were complaining that the Mario Party series has gotten way out of hand. Apparently. I didn't know this. And so when they released Super Mario Party for the Nintendo Switch, it's a very bare bones... Excuse me. It's a very bare bones Mario Party. It's very basic. There's not a lot to it. And it's simple. It's fun to play with my kids, but there's really not a lot there. Alright, Romani, let's do this. hopefully they learn their lesson with the drop in sales for Tears of the Kingdom, and then also the disaster that was Metroid Prime 4. Alright. I'm ready. To do this again. I forget, Zeltroy, did you like Breath of the Wild, or were you one of the critics on it? I can't remember. It's a good thing I have this mini-map. Otherwise, this would be really difficult. Or at least more difficult. Bird o'clock. Another one just appeared there. No, I need arrows. Ah. Sniped. Yay. Mario Party got really stupid for a bit because they wanted to experiment with new things, like moving everyone along the board map together simultaneously. That was a gamer. Yeah, that's exactly the that was exactly the function I had in mind when I was saying that. But yeah, I love Breath of the Wild. Zeltroid says, loved Breath of the Wild. The pros far outweighed the cons, but I did have some critiques that I was hoping that they would address in Tears of the Kingdom. For that reason, it was Tears of the Kingdom that really disappointed me. Yay. Branch opens at 6 a.m. Doo-doo. Yeah, I find the lore issue really fascinating because in isolation, the story of Tears of the Kingdom I think is really good, but in the wider context of what we know Zelda to be, Zelda the series to be with its lore, it really does mess things up quite beautifully. Okay, so they're leaving at 6 o'clock. I just find it fascinating as to why that upsets people. You know? It's Nintendo's disregard for the lore of Zelda is something it's quite known now. It's not like they despise it, it's just that they don't really care about it. And so they're willing to make a story and just kind of let the fans kind of fight it out. To me, I liken it to when, you know, there's just inconsistencies in a story. That's really what it is. The story's inconsistent, and you know, if you're watching a movie or reading a book, if you're watching a movie and reading a book, then and there's inconsistencies in the narrative, it's a bad book. So them disregarding the whole Zelda narrative to tell a new story, in a sense, is bad. It is bad writing. It's bad meta narrative writing. Yay. Good evening. I'm going to now to deliver the milk. Would you like a ride? I would. Zeltroid says, like dungeons are supposed to be half of Zelda experience. Literally half of the game should be puzzle solving in an enclosed, isolating environment. Now it's like an afterthought. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, when you think of a Zelda game, you think of the story, and you think of the dungeons. The dungeons aren't one of the major things that pops up. And to fail in one area like the dungeon is pretty big. Like, that's a big no-no. Don't do that. And I think beyond the fact that the Breath of the Wild dungeons were a departure from traditional Zelda, that's one argument you can make, but I don't feel like it's a fair argument to criticize the overall game structure as a whole, in the sense that because it departs from original Zelda, therefore it's poorly designed. But what is bad, I think, is that there wasn't enough variety, I think, in how the... Well, I have to think about this. Because essentially all the dungeons behave in the same way. You find the 4 terminals, and then you get to the end of the dungeon, and you fight the boss. But typically, Zelda dungeons have the same kind of... They have the same kind of structure to them. You find the castle, you find a bunch of keys, you unlock the doors, you explore the dungeon, you find a castle treasure, then you get the boss key, and then you get to the boss. And I think because Breath of the Wild didn't have any kind of item or lock and key mechanism that kept you away from certain parts of the dungeon and unlocking different parts of the dungeon, that was detrimental and made them all feel very, very similar. Whereas Ocarina of Time, even though it had, and other Zeldas, even though the dungeons still have the same structure because of the layout and the lock and key mechanisms and the different treasures that you could get, made them all feel really different rather than just more of the same. I could be wrong about that. I'd be interested to hear like what you think. What you think about it. I mean, if I lose this, I'm gonna be upset. mask. It's a bummer you hate the Zelda Warriors game. Zeltroid says, it's a bummer you hate the Zelda Warriors game. Age of Imprisonment really enhanced the story for Tears of the Kingdom. Honestly, even if you never played the game, it might be worth watching the cutscenes on YouTube. Yeah, I have considered doing that. And again, my gripe with the Zelda Warriors games is not... Well, okay. I hated the time travel aspect of the Age of Calamity story. I hated that. I didn't mind the story in Hyrule Warriors. But I have considered watching a playthrough of Age of Calamity just for the story. Because it's more so... I more so get upset at... One, the gameplay doesn't just appeal to me. And I also get upset at people claiming that the gameplay... The aspects of the gameplay for the characters are canon. Like when the whole should Zelda be a warrior. When that whole aspect of the lore comes up, and people say no, Zelda's not a warrior, and they point to Hyrule Warriors, that grates me. Because you know, I'm a big mechanical storytelling guy, and in that game I kind of have to shut my brain off for that aspect, because you know, if Zelda can do... I've said this before. If Zelda can do anything Link can do, it makes one of them unnecessary. So, the story is fine. It's just the gameplay aspect I find I struggle with in those aspects. But anyway. Zeltroid says, pro tip, if you play both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom and beat the game without ever obtaining the glider, suddenly everything becomes a really complex puzzle again. Oh. Interesting. Everyone is a warrior in a Zelda Warriors game. That's a straw man argument. I know. I know. I know. It's a Zelda Warriors game, but to then say that what Zelda can do in the story of Breath of the Wild, like, Zelda drives the narrative in Tears of the Kingdom. Link, the whole story is Zelda's story, and Link is kind of doing his own thing. And her role in the story is never to be what Link can be. You know, it's like one of the arguments for when the Mario movie came out. You know, that scene where Peach does the obstacle course and then trains Mario to basically do what Peach can do. From a narrative standpoint, if Peach can do everything that Mario can do, what is the point of Mario? That's my contention. Oh, you agree with me? I'm sorry. I agree with you. I'm saying they're making a strawman argument by claiming that Zelda is a warrior due to her existence. Oh, okay. Sorry. I misunderstood. But yes, okay, good. I'm glad we see eye to eye on that one. So, like, my contention is not... I'm not saying that the game is bad. I'm just saying it doesn't appeal to me for those reasons. Like, I have played Hyrule Warriors. I've played, you know, probably about 20-30 hours of it on my 3DS. It's just, you know, not a series I typically go to, not a type of gameplay. And that includes Dynasty Warriors and all other games like that. What do I have to do with this guy again? Front left. But yeah, again, like my contention with it is more of a meta thing rather than is this good game design or not. Like there is an appeal to the Dynasty Warriors gameplay that just doesn't appeal to me. It's more of a preference. It's not necessarily a criticism of the design of those games. You know, my criticism for the Dynasty Warriors gameplay model is very different than my criticism for, like, a gacha game. Just to be clear, I wouldn't tell you that you're making a strawman argument in a YouTube chat. Those are chat derailing fighting words. Well, I don't know, man. I don't mind a little... Wait, what did he say? I don't mind a little pushback. Wait, what did he say? Where does he want me to play? Rear left. Yeah, you oh, that's good to know. I didn't know. I didn't know that about chat etiquette. Well, you know, you guys have been nice. Some people, I imagine, hopefully I'll get more viewers. And eventually I'll have to monitor the chat in a very different way. I could imagine there'll be some fightings going on in the chat that I won't necessarily notice right away, which is fine. It's I think it's the nature of a chat. It's kind of like when I made that comment about is there a right way to engage a game? And some people on YouTube got very upset with me. And saying I was just being like a negative type of Souls player. And then I brought it up the next day saying, you know, if I say something stupid, please, please, respectfully tell me that you think I'm wrong, or, you know, push back. I don't mind that at all. One of the things I had to come to terms with, and Zeltra, let me know if you experienced this as well, and Tim, I know that you have some content online too, is that I had to accept the fact that if I'm gonna say stuff online a lot, that eventually I am going to say something stupid. And people are going to call me out for it in nice and not nice ways. Zeltroid says, hey, you can if you want, Tim. I just think when someone comes in chat and tries to start an argument, it seems like they often want to be the center of attention. If I just start going, hey Bongo, you're stupid, try being a real knowledgeable Zelda fan for a change, then it'd be pretty hard. That'd be pretty hard for a streamer to ignore. Yeah, that's how putting yourself on the internet works. It would make for good clips, though. Drama sells. People love drama. Oh, that was the Ballad of the Windfish. I forgot that was in this game. Oh, so if the Ballad of the Windfish is in Majora's Mask, that means the Windfish exists within the land of Termina. What a depressing mask. That's not the Ballad of the Windfish. If you want the clips, I can start being confrontational. Oh man, let's talk about Echoes of Wisdom. Perhaps another time, Zeltroid. Maybe if this was like the start of the stream, we could do that. That would carry the whole stream. I don't know if you're here at the beginning, but at the beginning I was struggling. I was trying to both play and think of things to say. I didn't have time to to think of some cool topics to discuss. So. But yeah, next time you're here, if it's within, you know, half hour, we can definitely go at Echoes of Wisdom. I wouldn't mind to have a nice, respectful dialogue on that one. You know what? Maybe I should play it again. How about that? Maybe I can, yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll play it again on stream. That'll be the next Zelda game. Maybe. We'll see. If and only if the Twilight Princess PC port doesn't come out. Maybe that will be the next one. Alright, guys. It is that time again. Thanks for hanging out. Zeltroid, it's always good to see you when you can make it. Tim, thanks for being here. Anyone else, if you're watching, thanks for viewing and hanging out. It's always fun. Tomorrow, more Majora's Mask. And, yeah. That's it. Play it on stream. Yes. That will have to happen, I guess. It's not a bad game. Alright. Alright, guys. Take it easy.